happy days are here again. The skies above
We're about 30
are
minutes
clear
today.
again.
So how are we doing?
So let's sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again.
Ryan's standing by
All
for
together, shout it now. There's no one who can doubt it now. So let's tell the world about it
Okay,
now.
Can you just count 1 to 10 for me, please, and move around a little bit?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All go on, there'll be no more from now on.
Okay, here we go.
Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again.
It's a big full house
So
out there.
let's
They're settling them in. They're very excited.
Happy times, happy nights,
Sorry.
happy days are here.
Hi, I'm Carrie Fisher, and I'm an alcoholic.
This is awesome.
Nowhere to sit.
No,
Where's my white
wait.
chair?
He's getting us set up, but what I love
No,
is
I want my
this.
white chair
You want your white
from
chair?
the other room.
Oh, okay, we'll go get that, and I'll just welcome
thank
everybody
you.
and see how this works. Everybody just kind of takes a roll, and we go with it. Or we
So
roll
this,
with it.
when they say you have to hit your mark, they're talking about little marks on the stage because the lights are,
That's
set up
right.
to
But
hit
you
those
know,
spots.
he's never done this before. And what's really great is we're utilizing everything today, both studios.
Right.
We have a live audience for the first time. We just, right? And we just had the most amazing weekend. And we were in,
And we still are having.
and yeah, but we spent 2.5 days with our people that have been with us since the beginning of the show. And today we're here to celebrate May the 4th. And so I'm really excited about that with a live audience. So it's awesome.
We could have done it tomorrow, but that would have been no fun at all.
No, because nobody would be left.
But I
Everybody's
could be here
leaving.
by myself doing it.
I might not even be here.
Woohoo!
Yeah, that's right. I would be home.
I think May 4th is an important day. And isn't it an interesting sort of a faux pas that the words May the 4th be with you just happen to fit that way?
Yeah.
Some people have asked my sister over the years, did George know that this movie was going to be such a huge success? And she would always joke, of course he knew. Or she would say, no, he didn't know. We all knew. He was the only one that didn't know. She was always trying to figure out a different way to say it. But I think the same thing applies to May the 4th. Do you think George knew that he was thinking when he came up with the line, May the Force be with you? Do you think he saw that play on words?
Not.
Well, I'm going to say he knew. Of course he knew.
Well, see, you knew George Lucas and I didn't, so I couldn't
I
can't
do.
call that one.
But he's a very shy, kind of soft-spoken
Yeah.
guy.
How beautiful.
So it is for a
Yeah.
change. And this
Yeah.
is why he rejected Hollywood so entirely. They
Yes.
rejected him first. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
They specifically said he had lost his mind.
yeah. Because he was making this monster.
He was making a space western
Yeah.
with a walking carpet and other artifacts.
And a talking carpet.
Well, it didn't really talk. It went, "Ah!"
Is
that all right?
It was his talking, yes.
Somebody was asked to do that the other day, and I think that mine was a better impression. There's a soulfulness to mine. So, if you notice on the stage, although, maybe you could zoom back, Kyle, so everybody could get a quick look at the whole room. See, that's what's on. There you go.
Yep.
So you can see. Okay, well, there's the
Oh,
audience.
There you all are.
You can wave, everybody.
Yay!
There you go. But also, look, an audience mic. Shocking.
No, an
You
audience
guys don't
shot,
realize
I
it,
love
but you're all on camera now, so don't do anything too embarrassing. But the set pieces, some of them live over next door. We brought them over here because they get lonely. These were Carrie's droids, these two in particular, and so it's very important. People used to ask Carrie about these droids, and she would say, "Oh yes, these are my droids. I don't go anywhere without my droids." And they would think she was joking, and of course she would just. There's no end to Carrie's jokes, so she'd be like, "Oh no, I'm dead serious. I'll need 2 extra tickets for the droids." Not on Southwest either.
And certainly not on Spirit now, right?
Well, it is the spirit of it, but not the airline. So we're going to be doing, we've done this every year pretty much, right?
Yeah, we have celebrated May the 4th every year for, I think our show is 6 years, 7 years old. I'm not really, it was before COVID, but then you built
But our
the
show
set
is
and all
not
this.
like a lot of the May the 4th shows will probably celebrate the entire franchise. We kind of focus a little bit on the personal side. In fact, I left my mother's chair right there for those of you who didn't see it, because I like to say without her, there would have been no Princess Leia, right? I mean, she was the matriarch of our family. I'm talking about Debbie Reynolds, my mother, and she groomed Carrie a very certain way growing up. And I didn't know exactly what I was looking at entirely when I was growing up because I was busy burning down the back lot. And Carrie was busy, trying to be an actress or a performer. It's true. She kind of always wanted, to do that. The first, you guys have seen some of the pictures in the other room of Carrie and I very young performing with my mom. And, Carrie, the first time we went on stage, hated it. She didn't even want to go out on stage. I almost had to push her out. But as soon as that light hit her, the angels sung. And what actually happened, there were no angels. The audience was like gasping for glee at these cute kids of Debbie Reynolds. And my mother picked up on it. She's like, "Oh, wow. People enjoy that." But that is also, I watched it all right. I'm the only person, other than maybe my mom from the other side. I watched the light hit her and immediately the light went off. Like that was all of a sudden what she wanted to do.
How many years did you to do the show with her in Vegas?
It started
and around the world. Actually.
Well, it started, here, and my mother, we would go on stage sometimes with my mom. There's a little picture. I mean, we're only about that big, and everybody went, "Oh, isn't that cute?" But somewhere along the line, somebody said, "Why don't you get the kids to perform with you?" And this is around the time with Donnie and Marie and all those families and the Jacksons. I guess maybe it was, she didn't follow that path, obviously, partly because of me. Because I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. Where did I sign on for all of this? And wait a minute, I have to wash my hair every night?
And brush your teeth every day.
Impossible.
Yeah.
In fact, I forgot to brush my teeth. I want to confess it right now. A lot. My hair, and then the other thing was makeup. You had to, on a bright lights, you had to wear makeup. I don't have any makeup on right now. I know all of you are super impressed with that.
Well, you usually do wear the man tan I give you.
She gave me some bronzer, and I remember sometimes. But when I forget, I turn on this gold light, and it works
it works.
So you can do it with technology, or you can go the old-fashioned way. You gals like the old-fashioned way. All right, so what we're going to do is focus a little bit on Carrie as it relates to Star Wars. And I understand that the Star Wars franchise is way bigger than Carrie, but I always felt the original 3 characters were really the heart of the entire storyline, the heart of the franchise. And unfortunately, Disney has not really figured that out. They continue to resist, the original storylines and things that George was doing. I also know for a fact that George is not thrilled with how they are handling the franchise. Imagine having this amazing creation and then handing it off to a bunch of people and trusting them with your baby, in effect. So, you don't want to leave your children with Genghis Khan. Not that Disney currently is Genghis Khan, but
we're looking in a way to keep it moving forward. And so you either like that or you don't. But I
could tell you why it happened.
Well, let me just say that when I went to see what was the Force Awakens was the first one that came out, and I had never seen Star Wars, so Force Awakens was my first time I saw it. It's
kind of interesting. She had never seen Star Wars. I never saw a soap opera.
Right. But Force Awakens was my first time seeing it, and I fell in love with the 3 characters. And when they got killed off, when Harrison Ford went down in Force Awakens, I was like,
What?
oh, no. Yeah, and then when, it was really hard for me because I was attached to the characters quickly.
I know that people do have other favorite characters within the franchise and all, and I'm not belittling that. I'm just saying there's a responsibility, to the story and to the characters.
Yeah.
And I think George felt a bit betrayed, but he cried himself to sleep every night with $100 bills. The guy, I think it was 4 billion or some gigantic number. So, I guess if I give you guys $4,000 million for your idea, you might let it go. But no, you've heard him talk, right? You've heard him make comments, and okay, where would you like to go?
Wherever we're supposed to be.
Well, tell me where
I would if I had my glasses on.
She showed up to work without
It
her
never
glasses.
occurred to me I would have to actually see anything.
What if I don't tell you? All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewind back to 1977. So, Drazzle. I have glasses. Ryan was concerned that neither one of us could see, and that truly would be a catastrophe.
Okay, I'm all set now.
The
Look here.
difference, oh my God.
Yeah, just like that. They just flew onto my face.
I always feel that people get in denial about reading glasses. Especially at our age.
not
She
me.
has them stashed all over the place,
Yes.
even in the chicken pen.
I do have a pair out there. That's right.
Yes, exactly. I know what's going on. So I was originally summoned to visit Carrie in England when she was working on the first Star Wars film. And my mother was just having me check on her because she'd been gone a while. And I didn't spend a ton of time there, but she was really doing quite fine. But remember, she's 19 years old in England. Now, this is a different time than today. I used to backpack around England at 16 years old with Eurail passes. Today, God forbid, who would ever allow their child to do that? But there we were, and I visited her, and I saw the sets. They were kind of, sparse. If what you see in the movie, much of which is like what you're seeing behind us here, there was nothing. Turn the background off for just 1 second. Just go to blackness somewhere. Like I go onto the set, and this is what it looks like.
That's what they're acting to.
Right. So
Yeah,
there's a few big pieces in front, and then there's just nothing. Or it's blue, which we used to do what they call chroma key blue background. So you can put it back. It was just like you couldn't really figure out what was going on. And even though I had a technical understanding of it, it was still pretty hard to really see where this guy was going. And then when you looked at the script, I'll be honest with you, I didn't read the script. She'd had it for a while, and I read a little of it. I thought, this is,
Jeez,
I
Liz.
don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah, no.
I'd recognize your foul stench anywhere. There's some, there's help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm your only hope. To pull that off, you got to be Richard Burton
Oh my
and Elizabeth
gosh.
Taylor.
I find it, just acting with people is difficult enough, but when there's nothing there and you're reacting to things and the director is screaming at you, you're frightened out of your mind
Now,
and there's
George
nothing there.
George never did that, by the way. He's mellow,
Yeah.
The only weird thing he did was tell Carrie there's no bras in outer space. That could be considered weird, especially when you have a little something going on that you want to control.
Well, she didn't though back then. She had little
Smaller.
tiny perky. It was all good. You didn't need a
19
bra.
years old, it better be perfect.
Yeah. Well, I don't
So
think
anyway, the movie, now I'll just say this off, and I originally never would have told this story, but there was pretty obvious that something had happened between Harrison and Carrie. I did not arrive to witness it all, but Carrie had actually been writing about it, and later it went into her book, The Princess Diarist. But I was sworn to secrecy by my mother to never say anything about that. So until Carrie did, she decided to out herself. So having said that, the movie gets made. Time goes by, quite a bit of time. It takes months to do the special effects. Finally, there's a call for Carrie to go to the screening. And over at 20th Century Fox, they have a beautiful screening room, holds a few hundred people. And she says, will I go with her? And I was like, sure, of course. So we go to the screening, and she's pacing around the parking lot and chain smoking. And I'm like, hey, there's no seats. The thing's about to start. We got to go in. And she's like, I can't go in. I'm so embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed about what? It's like, I don't know. This could be the end of my career. At least maybe I can go back to singing. Will you sing with me in the nightclub act again? It was like literally, could we? And I'm like, I don't know about that, but I'm happy to support you in some other way. I'd had enough of my Vegas experiences. So she ends up sneaking in with me to the front row, that close to the screen, to the point where we were looking up. And of course, the spaceship flies over. And she had a hold of my hand. And when that thing, she squeezed my hand so hard when that thing flew over. And she looked at me and I went, oh man, this is no B movie. Because she was saying this could be a B movie in the end of her career. So I always like telling that story. But I have, Seth has some slides, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the next day, or within a day or two, we get a call to go to do like a meet and greet for this little opening we're going to do. The film is going to go public. So Carrie and I had spent our whole life going to the Grauman's Chinese Theater. We'd been to all kinds of premieres, and we arrived at this. And no one had ever seen anything like this. And I'm telling you, I've been to every premiere of my mother's movies and other people's movies, and I had never seen anything like it. And I was standing, go back to that slide one sec. Can you go back? Yeah. So we were actually standing right over here, looking back at all of this. And there had been people that had been like 2 days sleeping, you know, on the street for 2 days. I mean, it's like insanity. And we're like, what in the world is going on? Now, go back to that slide one more second. One more thing. Just, you know how I am as a collector, right? I have that. I have the whole awning that goes from Hollywood Boulevard to back. Because right about in 2001, they decided to remodel and take the Grauman's Theater back to the 1930s look. And they were stripping that out.
And it's metal.
It's all metal.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday, and the guy says, we're tearing out the awning. We're going to trash it. There's a dumpster coming. Or do you want it? I said, we'll be right down. I put a crew together, the flatbeds, we sawzalls, and literally hand tools. We disassembled that entire thing. And it's now sitting in the backyard here in Vegas, ready for its install. I had some thoughts about it.
No, it's not ready for its install.
Yeah, it is. So you have to talk to it.
Oh, no, it's not ready. That's like saying the crane was ready, okay?
Well, I don't know if anything is ever exactly ready. I do force the hand of providence.
It looks like it's ready for the junkyard as the crane did. And so what happens is that restoration has to take place.
Restoration.
Because when I went out, if you had been out of town and I was in charge of cleaning that area up, I would have said, and you can take this away. That I'm so glad that didn't happen.
So that
But
is
it will be restored.
But that is what happens.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, people die and leave things to family members, and they don't know what it is, and it just looks like a pile of junk. The next thing you know, you just threw away
The Grauman's
that.
Chinese.
Now, I was
Theater.
actually going to make that awning the entrance to our house. You know where you come up and the lights lead you to the house? But it's about 3 times that long, but we don't have to use it all. That was something that I was talking about. Did you hear me talking about that?
I did, and I was going to say, could we not do that? Because I want to leave just some of the house a home,
Why?
not all a museum. Because it is a home.
No, it's a museum. Let me ask you a question. Have you guys been in a house or a museum the last few days?
Both.
Both, okay.
But it's the front yard. We have the Cleopatra dogs out the front, you know.
The guardians of Cleopatra's tomb.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, this was a big deal, obviously. You can go through a few of these. I don't even remember which ones we have. Go ahead and go through them, Ryan. Ooh, a Datsun 280Z. That was a cool ride.
That's what I had. That's exactly
Oh, now this
what I
is
had.
really important. So after Carrie passes away, we do an event there. Maybe it was a May 4th event, in fact. I believe it was. And this plaque now sits right where we were standing when we were watching that crowd. And it's only that far from my mother's footprints and handprints. And to make it more interesting, it's the only mother-daughter combination in the Grauman's Chinese Theater courtyard tribute area.
Wow.
So
I
that's
didn't know
pretty
that.
cool. Yeah. So there's Douglas Fairbanks Sr. and Jr., you know, a few of those kind of things. But there's no other mother-daughter. So you see where her hand is here on the right down by the floor. Just another couple of feet is now where Carrie's plaque is to honor her. There's the plaque. So I think that was pretty cool. That was a tough day. That's us at the plaque when they revealed it. And man, the guys from the Salvation Army had a little quartet. They play like a cornet and a little kind of marching band, sort of brass stuff, and they played Leia's theme. And I mean, and I had to talk, and they're playing that in the background. I'm like sucking it up. I mean, you know, I mean, this was some fresh stuff, you know, or we were still suffering through. You do see the memorial pin I'm wearing, right? Don't some of you guys have that? Yeah. So that's still cool. She's got one too. Look at that. And she has her glasses and I don't. What happened there?
You got your eyes got old too.
Outside I can see,
Yeah.
just not inside. Anyway, so that was a fun little thing. The experience was shocking, you know, even for Carrie and I that had seen a lot in our time. We'd certainly been to a lot of premieres and a lot of things. There was nothing like this that had ever happened. And the next thing you know, she was living in this little house on Laurel Canyon and, you know, had small, relatively small lifestyle. And the next thing you know, Carrie's a millionaire, just like Jed. Old Jed's a millionaire, Carrie's a millionaire. And it was really wild. And immediately they start planning for the next film. So anyway, that's the story on the TCL opening. And by the way, it wasn't called TCL back then. It was actually Grauman's Chinese Theater. Chinese Theater, I guess, is the name that's carried on, which, thank God, they keep one thing intact. As you know, I have a tendency to like to hold on to the history and keep things the way they were, which is why I have the awning. Okay, so now we're going to do something that I think is really kind of interesting. We're going to have Carrie and Debbie and a couple of other people talking about what I just sort of talked about, sort of reflecting on Star Wars and the continuation of Star Wars. And I think these are very interesting clips. I always love hearing Carrie and my mom talk about what I'm just talking about. I mean, I'm telling you, so as Carrie's, so it feels like this. What's it like to be Carrie's brother all of a sudden, 1 minute where she's just this, your little girl that you were going to high school with, and the next minute,
Worldwide fame.
she has this huge,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it wasn't weird for me because my mother and our whole life was like that. Honestly, it didn't feel like anything. It was just all of a sudden she was fame. And slowly but surely, instead of being Debbie Reynolds' son, I became Princess Leia's brother. So there was the transition there. You know, it's like pretty soon you're saying, I was always identified. Oh, excuse me. Let him in. This is Debbie Reynolds' son, right? Pretty soon it's let him in. This is Carrie Fisher's brother. Oh, yeah. So all of a sudden they were of equal stature in certain ways. The truth of the matter is, nobody will ever equal my mother in terms of the span of her career and the way that she connected with her fans. And in the end, Carrie was really making a full-fledged effort to do what my mother had told her to do from the beginning, which was to really connect with your fans. There's more going on there than you know, she would try to explain to her. So we have a little of that going on in here. You're going to hear from Carrie talking about how she was sort of recapturing her. Did we keep that part in there? About Carrie talking about the fans? I don't know if we did or not. Anyway, enjoy this clip. We can step out even and not
just so
block the screen. So black out and run that clip.
Let's pull the chairs out so they can see it.
You shouldn't have to. Well, let's see how bad it blocks you guys.
I love her, and I'm her custodian, and I'm as close as you're going to get. She's me, and I'm her. I mean, they talk to me like I'm Princess Leia, who happens to have had all these, difficult experiences to go through, and that's like me fighting for the Force. It's nice. They're nice.
When Star Wars became such a huge, did you expect that to become a huge hit? And then how did you see things changing? Did that change your life? How did that change your life?
Well, it was a total change. First of all, she went for an audition, which I drove her to. And I was frightened because I'm from the old school, so I've heard about it. And some of my girlfriends told me they were chased around the office by Mr. Zanuck and so forth. And here we have Mr. Lucas, what's he like? So I was scared to death, and I parked in the parking lot at Paramount, and I waited, and I worried, and she was up there too long, made me very nervous.
The plans and specifications to a battle station with enough firepower to destroy an entire system. Our only hope in destroying it is to find its weakness.
She was just 16, 17. I mean, same age as I was when I made Singing in the Rain. So I just was concerned, but she got the part. Mr. Lucas didn't know she was Fisher. He didn't relate to Reynolds, and he didn't really relate it to her being the daughter of a star. She got the part just because he liked her. And he's been a good friend to her. George Lucas is a very kind, innovative, wonderful man.
Did you always want to be an actress?
No, I wasn't running around saying I want to be an actress. I didn't have to have it as a goal. It was there. You know, I didn't have to aspire. I just had to pick it up from the...
You know, I think you got exactly the same eyes as your mother, and your chin a little bit like hers too.
I only did shampoo because I was hanging around a set and they, you know, I was a type. That was when Debbie wanted me to use the word screw instead of fuck. And Warren had to come over and convince her.
Can't we just be friends?
You want to fuck?
Acting, it's nice every so often, but it was never my passion. But I you know, like anything else, sometimes I do it well, and when I do it well, I like it, but it's a lot of work.
Is it natural for her to be in this business? Yes. Eddie Fisher is a great singer. Carrie Fisher is a great singer. It's one thing she has not shared with us. That's the one talent that she hasn't done for me yet.
Like, I said to her, why do you not have an album with standards?
What the? Well, I've been saying this for 40 years or however many years. After she did Star Wars, I wanted her to record and do an album. There's just something that's about, I guess it's about Eddie and it's about Debbie. She doesn't want to be Eddie and she doesn't want to be Debbie. She wants to be Carrie. So she'll do it her way. And I hope that her way finally will sing, because I love that voice. Isn't that a great voice? Wish I had it. I did, I gave it to her.
Groovy, I'm groovy, for the one I love to find me, to find me today, today. Oh my.
How's the new Star Wars going?
I'm not allowed to
Oh,
answer
that's
that.
right.
No, and this is not about the movie I'm doing, but the movie I'm doing,
The science fiction thing you're doing now?
No, I'm just Star Trek. I'm doing Star
Yeah, okay,
Trek.
great.
Me
I
and
hear it's
Bill
great.
Shatner humping our balls off. So now so they have a stand-in for me. I don't realize it's my stand-in because she's a little old lady. I did have an attractive stand-in when I was attractive.
When the movie came out, everything changed so fast.
Yeah.
So fast for both of us.
We got
Coming
famous early.
really early. And I would, come
Get
back
it
from
out
my
of the
waiting
way.
jobs and have this surreal existence with, whatever eagle was at the house or whatever movie star or
It was that. Remember the one that's not Don Henley?
no, it was
sent me
Glenn
a
Fry
stereo.
sent you the stereo, and you didn't even know him.
I didn't know him exactly.
And he
I met
sent
him on
an
a plane.
entire huge hi-fi thing, had it delivered
Yeah,
as just a how do you do.
he wanted to know me.
Yeah.
I liked the life that you got with Star Wars. The money and the fun and the, attention. And one thing my next shrink said to me was that the reason that so many people want to be actors is they confuse attention with love.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I mean, I understood it to be some weird thing because of my mom and all of that, but I did like the life. And so I did as little as possible to deserve it.
It changed her life completely. And mine, because you see, we lost that envy then, and that terrible thing of being Debbie Reynolds' daughter, because all of a sudden I was Princess Leia's mother. Because I didn't mind that. She minded it. I was very proud of it.
But I do like the one-woman show thing that I do, and now that's also why Debbie likes me.
Go figure. Well, you
I'm
fulfilled
doing
her.
a nightclub act.
You fulfilled her wish.
That's what she wanted. It is what she wanted.
Yeah.
She's seriously excited
Just took
about
you a
it.
while to get there.
I know I didn't want to go. There is a thing in me. I think there really was a thing that was like, I am not gonna fucking do this. You will not get me on stage in Vegas. It was an act of rebellion. And if you want to really fuck with your parents, don't play Vegas. They hate that.
Turn those mics. Okay. Very interesting stuff going on there. I mean, if you can imagine my mom saying what she said, that was so absolutely right on, that she liked it. She got it. She liked it so much that she would write it into her act, and she was like introducing herself. She'd say, "Oh, I see we have some younger people in the audience tonight. I'm Princess Leia's mother." And everybody would laugh, and it was very cute, but it was also endearing. You know, it was really, and she was really sincere about it. You know, she was, the thing that she's talking about that was the nightmare, you know, was the competition phase. Now, it was particularly difficult on me because I was the translator, interpreter, liaison between the two of them. So it would go something like this. Would you tell my mother that I just cannot make it today? Turn over there and tell my mother. And she would.
No, they were all in the same room?
Oh, yeah. Like she would not talk to her.
That is shocking.
But it's how it was. And then it would even get to the point with the phone, you know, different phone calls. And my mother would try to get me to set something up, you know, and I would like, this is not going to work. Carrie's too slick for that. She's going to see right through that. You know, and she was, well, now, dear, you know, we got to get through this. I was like, I don't know what we're getting through because I don't understand what the problem is. You know, think about it like this. I mean, we both had the same technical problem, right? We both have a famous mother. People frequently relate to you as the child of or whatever, and that's like how it goes. And so you have a choice. Do I take that as an insult or do I say, this is cool? So for me, I was like, this is cool. I have like this really beautiful, famous, funny, talented mother, and people love her, and this is cool.
But you know, mothers and daughters have different relationships
No kidding.
than sons and mothers. Yeah.
I am shocked to
So
find this out.
it's not really
How
that
does it work?
surprising. No, fathers and daughters, like I said, a father is to teach his daughter how to choose a
But tell me how the
good man,
cliche
and a
goes. How do the
mothers and daughters, I don't know why it is that way. I didn't say that. I didn't know why it's that way, but I know it is that way.
You didn't have that with your mother.
I did indeed.
You did indeed.
Yeah.
So explain that.
Well, you know, till I was 50, she told me whether something looked good on me or not. She would say, "Oh, you're not going to wear that, are you? I don't like that on you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not 50. I mean, I'm going to wear it. I like it."
But isn't that a mother's prerogative, sort of?
No, well, you know, sort of. But in the end, you're like, "Well, you're not wearing it." You know, you just have. It's a dialogue that you have inner and
No, but that
outer.
was an interesting little thought you just made there, because you see, you were protecting your area
Yeah.
and your right to do. And see, now that's what Carrie was doing.
And they were both performers, and it was
No,
complicated.
but that was what she was doing to a much higher level.
Yeah.
She was overly protective of all of those rights, and these are my decisions, not
Yeah.
your decisions. I am going to go there on my own. There was another dynamic that was going on, which was the drug and alcohol era.
Right, and you know, as a parent, you want to feel like you can help someone, you know, control that, and it's
Well,
back
that was
then
my
too.
but
You know, we
Carrie,
know more about that stuff than back then. Mental illness, addiction. We know so much more about that
Oh, yeah.
now.
Carrie
than
had
we
a
did then.
therapist who I used to call the Nazi. She was. You ever do the James Bond movie with the lady who has the blade that comes out of her shoe? That's what my perception of this lady was. She was like this tough. I didn't want anything to do with her. And Carrie would say, "Well, Dr. So-and-so says this and this." And I'm like, "Well, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about." I mean, you know, she's.
Well, that's all subjective.
No, but she wanted Carrie to blame my mother for
Yeah.
the
Well,
era
and
where
that's
your parents are at
influence,
fault
isn't
for
it?
everything.
When you're influenced by people, which we all are all the time, being influenced by something, you have to. That's why you have to be careful who you surround yourself with.
Well, and then who you give that power to, because she gave power to this lady's
Yeah.
advice
Right.
and brought it home.
Mhm.
And then that resulted in these phobias, because that's all it really, it's invisible. That was just, I say to Carol all the time, what you're talking about is not tangible.
Yeah.
This is an invisible power you're giving to this thing. It's not
Mhm.
real. She says, oh, it's real. And I'd be like, well, then get rid of it. It's like, I just could not grasp it.
Well, as you evolve, then you give the power to yourself and to your higher power. You know what I mean? Like when you know yourself.
But before I had a higher power, I got this.
Yeah.
I used to say my mother gives great shade. How is it being in the shadow of Debbie Reynolds? I said, she gives great shade. Now, that was a line that I came up with when I was like 10, because I was constantly being asked a dumb question. Do you really ask a 6 to 8 to 10-year-old that question? But after the 300 times, I finally got to the point where I said, I guess I should come up with something instead of this. What I usually do is I have no idea what you're even talking about. Because you just think about it like this. Here was another one. What's it like having such an amazing, famous mother?
Well, yeah, it's
And
not
my
very
response?
inventive, that question.
I would say, do you have a mother? They would be like, yes. I said, well, that's what it's like. She's my mother. Yes, there's a moment when she's on stage when I identify with her as this talented person, or maybe I go to the movie and then you're kind of like, oh, that's my mother. But generally speaking, 90% of the time,
yeah,
she's like, why didn't you finish cleaning your room? Now, isn't that what happens? That's the normal routine, right? You're going to finish the milk, all the spinach, and don't spit it out in your milk this time. That was the dialogue. Carrie, no singing at the table. Because Carrie would sing at the table to avoid any sort of other dialogue.
Yeah.
She would sing over. We'd all be having a little, so Todd, what did you do for school? Well, I went, and Carrie would start singing, South Pacific songs.
Yeah.
Like you just saw that little routine, with her and Griffin. Carrie knew all the show tunes, as I do. We were brought up on them. The only difference between us and you is that we heard them from Irving Berlin in our living room.
Well, it just goes to show you, that two kids are brought up a year apart. That's what you two are, more or less, and in the same environment. Nothing's different, and you have two completely separate, distinct personalities.
So let's figure this out, because I
I
want to figure it out right now in front of all of you. We're going to get to the bottom of this. No, I've never been able to get to the bottom, but I'm going to say a few obvious things besides the obvious. You brought up the first one, the mother, daughter, the father. So I bonded with my mother differently for sure than Carrie did.
Absolutely.
When Carrie was embarrassed when the skirt twirled up, I didn't even notice. It didn't mean anything to me. So Carrie was affected differently. Carrie was very annoyed when my mother would get off stage and she would have her wine and cigarette and tell stories.
But she never inhaled.
She did not inhale, but she did swallow the wine.
Yeah.
Thus resulting in the guard coming down, and the stories could sometimes get maudlin. And at a certain point, after the whole bottle was getting towards the bottom, we would rip the shit out of Harry Carl once again. Now, Carrie would get annoyed, like when we would go down that path, she would feel, oh shit, here we go, I'm out of here. I can't do it. I thought it was kind of interesting, the whole thing. It didn't really mean that much to me. She was winding down, get it off your shoulders. But Carrie would be personally annoyed heavily by that. And then it became also a thing, my mother has a drinking problem. And then Carrie, of course, gets into drugs and alcohol, but
your mom did
drugs.
not have a drinking
Well,
problem.
it's a different kind of a drinking thing, right? So,
I
because my mother comes from the generation of people that have a drink to relax, and they don't turn it.
They would have martinis
they don't miss their
at the
work.
end of the day. For me, the problem is when it affects your work, your
personal life,
and you drop the ball in important places.
Well, she could not figure that out. So Carrie, as you well know, if you've seen Postcards from the Edge, she has an overdose, scared everybody really badly, including her.
Yeah.
And Carrie was in one of those little gurneys in the hospital over at Cedar-Sinai, and I was with her pretty quickly after our favorite person, Don Henley, dumps her at the curbing and leaves her there. Class act. Great music, dumbass person. Dumps my sister at the emergency room thing and splits.
Yeah.
By that, you've seen the movie Postcards where Dennis Quaid dumps her in the Jeep and takes off. Well, I don't know if he was driving a Jeep, but that's all a true story. Anyway, within moments, I'm there at her side, and she was freaked out that she had come close, possibly, to stepping beyond. And I thought we were at a switchover point there, but that is also when it got really bad between her and my mom. Then she wouldn't talk to my mother at all.
Yeah.
And that was a shame thing.
And that lasted for 10 years?
It was allegedly, and it was.
Like a decade.
It really was
but
like 10
you know
years.
what's beautiful? That they resolved that and that it became something all on the opposite end.
Yeah, it did.
And then your mom took her on as her, to make sure that she got through every day. Your mom did everything she could to help her, to be there for her. Sometimes we get annoyed with people that when they just seem like they're not manageable, and your mom did not ever give up. And I think that Carrie really understood that, that she always had your mom. So that 10 years was kind of wiped clean.
It was.
Yeah. And so what happened was, your mom right up to her last breath.
Well,
and beyond.
It's an epiphany that Carrie had a real epiphany at one
Mm-hmm.
point. I can remember even when it happened, which she was like, oh, maybe this isn't such a bad thing that my mother is trying to help me, or say, dear, don't fall in that hole there.
Yeah.
I did it 20 years ago.
But we all have to fall in the hole ourselves.
Well, there's that too. But Carrie, there are a lot of you guys, your families, that have people that have mental disorders or drug problems or alcohol problems.
We know more about it today.
Well, we do, but at the same time, it can be incredibly destructive within the family. And my mother had a lot of friends that said, let's take Marlon Brando for an example. His son, I believe it was, had problems. And so the same doctors that were talking to my mother and I about tough love and all this told Brando.
Well, I asked your mom why she didn't use tough love more, actually.
Right.
And she said, because I have friends that did that. She had her movie star friends that had kids that were going through the same things, either addiction or mental health issues. And she said that they did the tough love thing, and their kids ended up dying because they,
tough loved them into the cemetery.
And so that was, but everybody has a choice to make with that. There's not right or wrong in that.
Right. Right.
You do the best with what you have. And so.
Well, I honestly, when the guy said, I was in a class with Carrie at Century City Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been in one of these classes before. And the guy laid that rap on me about tough love. I said, I was like the scene in the movie Big. Yes? I don't think I can leave my sister face down in her vomit. Well, you have to. I just don't think I'm going to leave her down on the floor like that. I'm sorry, you're asking something that's impossible. Well, you have to, or they're never. And I'm like, and by the way, I never did, of course. And we had Carrie for 60 years.
I did.
You what?
I left.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's like,
but you know what? A husband's different than your sister or your brother.
That's true. But
you can always upgrade to a better
face
husband.
Down in the cold lawn, and the dew coming up, and the rain coming down.
The sprinklers coming on.
The sprinklers
Wake
coming
you up
on.
in the morning.
Yes.
Could I get you a cup of coffee down there? The gardener's coming soon. Could you move to the left? We're going to be cutting that hedge.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
that's no. I went through similar.
I'm for both. You have to know what you're dealing with.
But you were fed up by the time you get to that.
Again, we say it's different when it's your sister. I mean, there's no doubt.
I would never, nor could I ever, just leave her.
No.
And I was by her side forever. And I remember one time when we had a moment where she was mad at me. Now, Carrie could get mad at everybody, but I used to say, you can get mad at all those people, but I'm the only one that can't be fired. Debbie and I, that was it. Everybody else literally did. If you crossed her in certain areas, especially that had to do with narcotics.
Yeah.
And so, we would go to odds about these things over the years, and she'd get mad at me. But I mean, at one point, she came to me and she said, oh, we can't be mad at each other. I said, I'm not mad at you. She goes, well, I'm really still mad, that you whatever, I didn't do what I wanted you to do or something like that. I say, well, I didn't think it was in your best interest.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. And then she said, well, we can't be. I said, I'm not mad. I said, I will always be on your side. I always have been, and I always will be, no matter what. I have lied for you. Now, you know me. I do not lie for people on but for my sister, you keep her out of trouble a few times,
Look, for as much as she had going on, she is who she is today to people because she did survive to 60.
Survived.
With mental health issues.
More than survived, right?
With addictions. Not only survived, but proved that you could excel. But, she had your mom. And your mom was her biggest champion. Your mom championed her to the finish line.
Well,
the
word she would
to
use,
the finish line. Yeah.
I think it's in Bright Lights. She says that we all had to love her, and it wasn't easy. Now that word, as you know, can be bent a lot of different directions, but you can mix in that word champion into that word love, because that is what got her over. She would unconditionally love her, and no matter how right or wrong something was, she always was there. If you remember at Telluride, that one actor came up to me who had a sister that was bipolar.
Yes, I won't say his name, but he's
a very famous actor.
Yeah.
And he came up to me, he goes, man, how do you do it? I have a sister, and I said.
Well, he just related to it because you could see the pain on his face as he spoke of her and what it was doing to his parents. And I'll never forget that, because I remember thinking, people have no idea the struggles of well-known people on a very personal level, on a human level.
Because in the end, they're all just like us.
And yes, exactly. So
now I'm different. A dove comes and takes mine away.
Yeah, right. The birds come down and they throw the cape on your back.
That's why she has to collect so many doves.
There's something here about lightsabers.
Well, we are going to. So one of the things that we have shown this group is sort of the history of lightsabers. Now, lightsabers are an interesting subject because
though I'm not a Star Wars person, I love the lightsaber. I think
there is something magical about lightsabers. So between the squeaky wheels and the lightsabers are cool. So I'm going to move this over here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to I want to make it so she can see it with the camera. That's why I'm doing this. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is make some noise over here, because unlike in the movies, when you want to see a lightsaber, you actually need something to refract the light.
Right.
Okay? So if I point something at something, you could see it, but otherwise, if you're through thin air, you wouldn't see it. That's what's so magical about the lightsaber battles. Yeah. So I have to turn on a smoke machine.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the one I had on my stage, is it?
No.
Good.
That was something
I
else.
almost passed out.
This is
from
much
that
worse
machine.
than that.
Yeah, this is much worse than that.
It'll take a second to warm up, but I'm going to use the smoke machine to show sort of how light actually works. But those of you that were here and got the tour this week, I'm going to try to stay in my chair so they can actually shoot these things. Do I have both of them here? Yeah, I do. Okay, so this is. Everybody would see one of these, and automatically everybody would know what this is. This is a lightsaber. Now, forever though. We lost my sound there. Okay, forever this was not a lightsaber. It had a life long before George Lucas and his prop masters figured out what it was. And what it was originally was, there it comes. Here comes our fog. The moment is arriving. What it was long before it was a lightsaber was it went on one of these. And if you ever watched the old movies, the paparazzi of old would come out and they would get in somebody's face and they would flash. And this has that old type of photo flash that would literally explode with light. And inside of this little tube are D-sized batteries. That's what actually causes the explosion inside the little flash tube. So these cameras are around, but the genius of the George Lucas prop people is that George has tasked them, given them no money to work with. So how do you create space weapons, even though you have no money? And so that could be challenging. So for whatever reason, somebody got the wild idea to take one of these flash tubes, which I now have in my hand. This is just the flash tube. But if you look at it, you'd say, wait a minute, that's a lightsaber. Well, no, that is a flash tube without the decorations. So you notice they added these black pieces to the back. They added 2 little decorations. Other than that, it is exactly the same. Now, this is Carrie's lightsaber. And I'm going to go to the wide shot for a sec. I'm going to take this flash right off of that camera. I didn't do anything different. And I'm going to snap it onto Carrie's lightsaber because it is just that. Close-up camera. There you go. It is just a flash. And you would have pushed the button manually, or you would plug the camera in and trigger it off of the shutter of the camera. They didn't change anything. Yet we all know this is a lightsaber. It's not a flash tube that goes to a camera from the 30s and 40s and 50s. So we all recognize what an amazing... Now, you got to give them credit. No money, create an object that would decades later have everybody going, yes, that's a lightsaber. Well, wait a minute. What is a lightsaber after all? Well, it's a special effect because on the set, there's nothing coming out of this. That had to be put in later with special effects, with a thing called rotoscoping. And the reality is that there is no such thing. Even to this day in technology, there's no such thing, because if you think about a flashlight, what happens when you turn on a flashlight? You know, it goes as far as the flashlight will reach. So what's with this weapon that only goes out a few feet? Now, this is a collectible. This is, I think, Sideshow or one of these companies makes these things. So they made a pretty good replica, right? And this is cool because it makes these sound effects. Here, I'll do it by name. And they really did a great job on this. What would you call this, Ryan? Collectible or an action? It's not an action thing. Collectible, okay. So it's not bad. A pretty good copy of what it is. And yet it has what we all know is a lightsaber, because lightsabers don't go out infinitely like a flashlight would. But light is light, right? I mean, if you point light at something, it doesn't stop 3.5 feet out. I mean, this is just completely fantasy land. So I just think it's kind of interesting that they chose to make it like a sword, even though it is a Western. So we have swords in the Westerns. Now I forgot how to turn this thing off. Now, here is, and I don't know if I showed all of you guys this. I'll sit down and show it, though. Now that I'm getting fog going, it's kind of cool. Now, this is actually a lightsaber of different sorts. They call this the Nebula. This is made by Nanlux. It's actually a lighting instrument that is being used on sets and things. But I saw it at a trade show, and I absolutely flipped out when I saw it. And the guy who built and designed this thing, he saw me flip out. He was like, "What's the thing?" I said, "Because that's a lightsaber." Now, we're going to have some more fog in a second, or I'll turn it up. But if you can, on the close-up camera for a second, you'll see it has a little display. It allows you to change the frequency of the light. Well, if you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, you've got the blue light. But if you're the bad guy, then you would switch it to the red frequencies. But they had different properties. So how do you power a lightsaber? Did you ever see them charge them? In fact, if you've been following the storyline, these lightsabers get lost for long periods of time, and the guy picks it up, and the next thing you know, it's at it again. But you do see how this thing is reaching out to the camera. I mean, it looks really cool. So the lightsabers are obviously a complete fantasy, but yet they've become part of our reality. So I'm looking at the picture of somebody. You can sort of see it on the screen. It looks really cool what it's doing. But here's the ability to focus this light. If you look on the wall, you guys can see it. You can see how it gets wider and narrower. Well, obviously, if you were going to make a lightsaber for like a weapon, you'd want to be able to adjust the range, right? I mean, who wants to get close to Darth Vader, for crying out loud? The guy kick your ass. So I'd want one that reaches across the room and fight him from over here before he could run up on me. Anyway, I just think it's a really if you could, I don't know if you could see the screen. Let me see if I hold it. Can you zoom in on the screen? I bet you can. How far can you go, Dawn? There you go. So there's a really cool liquid crystal LED screen here. And in here you can adjust the intensity, the color, a lot of these sorts of things. And now this is how, the reason why this excited me is not because it's really a lightsaber, but it is. So for lighting a show or something, let's say I want to light that camera, you know, this is a really neat thing. And if you notice, it has these little side slices, and I can actually, here, I'll put it over here. I can actually cut and make it any shape I want. Now that can be very handy when you're just trying to light up a very small area. So if I just want a little teeny tiny thing to light up there. So this is what's called a framing projector, but no one ever saw one this small before. Now if you look at it on the, if you look at the video, now it really looks like a lightsaber. I'm going to turn this monitor around for you guys. You'll appreciate this. Can you see that? So it kind of looks like a lightsaber. Watch me go in front of the lens. So in a way, this is as close in my lifetime. Maybe I'll live long enough to actually see a real lightsaber. But this has a lithium-ion power source, not some. I actually downloaded something for you guys that I think is kind of interesting. There's some people, as you know, that take this Star Wars stuff very seriously, besides me. And here's a breakdown of how this lightsaber. I'm going to turn the smoke off so the rest of you don't die of. Now this is mineral oil, by the way, so it's not, you know, a bad thing. But here's something kind of cool. So it's talking about the size, the type of material. The power source is, we all know this, right? Is a high capacity dadium power cell. You can get these down at True Value hardware store. Of course, it doesn't exist, but I think it's clever that they try to come up with answers to all this. Now, in our terms today, in order to have something that would have an unlimited power source like that, and you could literally lose, I mean, think about it. Luke Skywalker loses his lightsaber and they find it in 3 episodes later, and it still works perfectly. So that's one hell of a battery. I got to get me some of those. But that, according to this, that's a dadium power cell. It also uses a kyber crystal. You got to get some of those if you don't have any, or you could just get some face cream. The kyber crystal, by the way, is the one that emits the blue. So this is the kyber. So I thought that was sort of an interesting factoid. Now, the people that have wielded the blue lightsaber was Anakin Skywalker. That was the most famous. And then, of course, Obi-Wan. You remember Carrie had to say, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope." You remember that? Once again with feeling, my dear. She was not ignoring that. Luke Skywalker and then Rey also used a blue. But what people don't know is that Carrie actually had, they made Carrie towards the end there, because I think had she not passed away, they were going to have her wield this lightsaber. So this was actually made for Carrie. And as you can see, it's the same as the other screen-used lightsabers. I mean, they're virtually identical. So I think, now I'm speculating to some degree here, but why do you give Carrie a lightsaber if you're not intending her to be the last Jedi? And who would have not wanted to see Carrie kick everybody's ass? I mean, you know, that little, that interview with Griffin and Carrie, you know, she's not made up or anything. I mean, that is, you know, she's got the wrinkles that we get when we're 60, you know, and it's kind of beautiful. You know, she's become this very sophisticated, now no longer a princess. Now you're the general and the queen and all that. And there's a certain sophistication about it. There's a certain force to her. And her reputation in real life, as well as in the screen, preceded her. She was well known as this powerful woman that did not take any shit off anybody, including Darth Vader. And that really was who Carrie was. And my mom said something interesting there. You know, she said, well, I gave her the voice. You heard her say that? But what she didn't say was she's the one that really created Princess Leia. I watched the show for years of how she got Carrie sort of to be this sort of Hollywood princess. She was Hollywood royalty, right? Carrie, we're talking about. So Carrie really, so when Debbie was talking about how George saw her and George made it, or George just decided she was it. I have a different take on that. I think what George saw is what my mother helped create, helped mold. And when he saw her, it was like a light bulb went off. Look, should have had a V8. There's Princess Leia. Now we all know that's Princess Leia. Could there be another Princess Leia? I mean, that's it, folks. Having said that, I believe it's time to do
Q&A.
Well, and then we're doing the
Yes.
2 songs?
Yep.
Yes, we're gonna. So yes,
Okay.
we'll do. But I'll start with Q&A from down here.
Okay.
And
Now-
we'll do that. I'll
Now,
start
Ryan,
from
you're
this
going to
side.
operate.
All right.
I'll start from
Oh,
this side of the room.
Let me turn that off. Unlike the movies, these things run out of power.
The
It's
force
actually
is
getting
double
warm
A.
right here.
All right. Everybody give it up for Ryan Clements, who has done an incredible job with everything. And he's setting the camera there, and then you're going to run
Well-
the Q&A.
No,
right?
I'll be here. So
Oh,
I have
you're
that.
there.
He's going to pass the mic around.
Okay.
In some of these tighter areas, you guys are going to have to hand the mic around if you have a question. Obviously, we want to focus the questions, if possible, on what we have just been talking about. So pretty much a broad area that has anything to do with Carrie or anything to do with Debbie as it relates to Star Wars. There's your first question.
All right. I'm going to come towards you, and then I'll let you know. Ryan's going to make sure the camera's on you so we can see you.
Hi, Todd.
Hello there.
A quick question following up to what you just said about how you think that Carrie might have been the last Jedi. Have you ever had an opportunity to ask George Lucas, or do you know if that was his original
Well,
intention?
George was already out of the picture by those decisions. This would have been a Disney sort of thing. And I think if it was George's choice, he would have loved it. Because George, in my mom was right about George. He loved Carrie. I have a really cool video of Carrie messing around with George where she's humping him. Remember that one on the cruise
Like a
ship?
poodle at a party. That's like,
Well, it's dry humping. They're both dressed. And
and he's mortified.
he's totally,
Yeah.
it's funny to watch because he's really just like what we would all do. He's very shy. He's like, oh my God. And while she's humping him, she's saying, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And he's just laughing. But he's like a real sort of a very sweet, really humble, sort of shy man. So and he had a different take on Carrie, but he did create it, right? I mean, as much as Debbie delivered the goods, his movie, his scripts, his dialogue. If you read some of the scripts and some of the signatures on the script, and George signs a note to Carrie where he says, easy to say dialogue. He's saying that because Carrie was complaining as she became a writer, she would come back to George like, enough of these corny lines, can I write my own material? And so George was always at that point was trying to stay up with Carrie because she really was a gifted writer, and he wanted her to feel comfortable. Also, Carrie, George, they knew they were responsible for this magic, this character magic, the power that's in that character, the power that is in that story. And I don't know that Disney fully grasps the responsibility of all of that. I wish they would.
Same. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody else have a question? Oh, okay. We'll go back here to Barb.
Hi. Did your mom ever visit the set?
No, Debbie never got on the set because they were always shot in somewhat exotic places, Northern California for the Jedi stuff, the beaches. So she never got to the set.
and most often out of the
England.
country. Yeah.
Yeah, so Pinewood Studios in England, not easy to get to. And my mother was, in those days, my mother was touring like 340 something weeks, days, excuse me. That'd be a trick. It'd take more than a Jedi to pull that off. But she was touring all the time. She only had like a month off spread out over an entire year. So she had very little time off. In her mind, she would take every job. She said she needs the O's, meaning the dollar signs, the O's.
All right. Do we have any other questions all the way over here?
See, that's why I
Squeeze me
wanted that
by.
aisle open there.
Well, that's all right. Just squeeze over. No, you're all good. All righty.
G'day. I was just wondering, did Carrie ever talk to you about what she thought about what Disney had done with Star Wars and her character in the sequel trilogy?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because you could see in the beginning of the clip with Griffiner, she says, "Oh, I'm not supposed to talk to. I'm not talking about the movie. Okay, I'm talking about the. Well, I'm talking about Star Trek because Disney was so frustrated with Carrie because Carrie didn't like to keep a secret. So she loved to tell her stories and she was brilliant at it. And it was so annoying to them, they used to call me and say, what can we do about this? You know, can't we get, I was like, are you freaking crazy? I said, my mother's been trying to control her for like decades.
But she did, I remember Carrie was at
keeping
one point,
the secret.
Yeah, she was like, I can't talk about this because she got in
sure
trouble.
She was talking about it.
Yeah, and in the earlier days, to my understanding, you know, what they had to, I mean, you'd get seriously docked or, you know,
but
if
they
you
don't,
told,
what are they going to do to their star? So it's kind of a bad situation.
No, I know, but I understand because you want to keep it a secret. You want to keep everything a secret. So, and I don't think she really lived that much longer past the when that whole takeover happened and they went into the new movies and you know she was.
No, it was because if you remember when we went to the screening at Grauman's, you were there, weren't you, or was it just me?
I think I was on tour then.
Okay, well anyway, I went to the Grauman's. There we were sitting there again. Where we were, it was weird for us. So I was her date, and we were sitting in the middle, and we watched the film, and the movie goes in a little ways before they reveal the original cast. And when they revealed the original cast, the entire audience erupted, you know, in glee. And, you know, she looked at me and she goes, wow. And then afterwards we were talking, and she says, I wonder if Disney understands this. You know, so I think there was always going to be a question. The problem with these big corporations, now Disney, I hate to even say this word Disney the way I have to say it, because I was a huge admirer of Walt Disney. And Walt Disney was a good friend of my mother's. And they were close. And so you got to love that company. You got to love those people. But what has happened to Disney, I don't have to love. You know, so some of the things that they've gotten themselves into here and some of the changes that they make to storylines for all the wrong reasons. I'm sorry, I am just not one of those people that thinks that you have to modify storylines to suit all of the people that are caught up in the Me Too movement or whatever the thing of today is. And I just don't believe in it. And I think they ruin great stories.
Well, I think too that what people don't understand that are in the corporate end of it is that, and it's because in the end, Star Wars is a big soap opera. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was a continuing story, and it would pick up the next way. The next movie would continue the saga, right? They'd say the saga continues, and audiences in soap operas, which everything is a soap opera now. Every nighttime show you see,
well, everything is a
it
series.
has adopted that
the land
form,
man.
yeah, that art form. But audiences like Star Wars, soap operas, things that were once made, you know, specifically, they don't forget anything. They don't forget any details at all. History, all of it. So when things start to be rewritten to suit, you know, where they want to go, then the audience will turn on.
Well, there's
you a
an
little
agenda.
bit.
So
Yeah.
some of these companies learn their lesson one way, and that's when you stop buying their products. That's how you teach them a lesson. This has happened more than one time, where a company will change its entire sort of persona and then realize, oops, I just dumped on my entire audience.
Fans don't forget things.
And I believe that, so this is a long roundabout answer.
It sure is.
But no, but it is, and it's an important question because the truth of the matter is these big companies get caught up in these alternate objectives, including just the simplest one, which is I'm a fiduciary of a giant corporation and my only objective is to make money. Well, that's always been a problem in Hollywood. Louis B. Mayer, you know, frequently they'd say, we're not going to make that movie. Yes, of course, this is a great art piece, but we have to make movies that make money. but there is a way to sort of do both. You can hopefully make it something that's really entertaining and fun. And if you look at the history of MGM, I think they did a fantastic job in taking us down. We all went to see The Wizard of Oz the other day. I mean, what a magical movie that is. And here we are all these decades later talking about it and rebuilding it, spending $80 million
Think
to
about it.
reproduce it.
It's almost 100 years.
Now,
I mean, it's insane.
think about,
it's crazy. That
okay,
how
but
long
let's
ago
let's
that
talk
was.
about it. Here's where I take my hat off to the people at Madison Square Garden in this sphere. They cut it a little bit for time, but they didn't change anything. We did not introduce wokeness into that storyline. It is what it is. I watched somebody the other day on, I think it was Turner Classic Movies, making a bunch of excuses for the movie Gone with the Wind. Well, I'm all for the fact that, but history is history, okay? No, my ancestors were not there with slaves. However, that was a dark time in American history, but it is a real time. It's really happening. So we don't have, if you don't acknowledge your history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's the old expression. And Hollywood needs to be responsible for the truth of real stories. And then you take it where you want to take it. We all know slavery was a bad concept. We figured that out all these years later. But you don't cancel Gone with the Wind because it shows the history of slavery in America. So I hate all of that. I love Turner Classic Movies. That's my channel. And
It is on 24/7.
right. I'll sleep with it on.
Yeah.
Besides her, I sleep with her and I sleep
And the
with Turner
channel.
Classic.
That's right. Let's go to another question.
We'll do one more question for time's sake.
Oh, let's just do one more.
That's what
He's got it right there.
All right, here you go.
Which Star Wars movie was Carrie's favorite that she made?
It's an interesting question because I actually I asked her about that, and the truth is she didn't like the first one very much because she was still sort of new in the role, and she felt that she was slipping in and out of accents. So Carrie studied at the London Dramatic Academy. And in the London Dramatic Academy, they made you practice, Shakespearean type of plays and things, and you would do live shows. And of course, when you speak in an English accent, then of course everything speaks like this. And she actually had these little, I guess you'd call them tongue twisters that you would say to help you enunciate. But it was always with this English formal accent. I'd recognize your foul stench anywhere. And she said it with an English accent. It drove her crazy that they kept that take. So she hated that. Now, I think she liked the movie because we obviously walked out of that movie kind of in shock. And she certainly didn't say anything when I first saw that screening immediately, like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. But later she always said, I wish couldn't there have been another take that we could have used, or did I do them all like that?
So was the first, her first one?
That was not her favorite.
Okay.
So her favorite one, I think, was the metal bikini one, not because of the metal bikini routine, but there's a lot of fun stuff in that story. She had a lot of fun up in the Redwood Forest with the Ewoks, and there's a lot of fun stuff in there. I think as much as it, again, today I would be politically incorrect to chain a woman to a giant slug, but
you gotta have a
Disney
sense of
wouldn't do
humor.
that. But I mean, the truth is she thought that was pretty damn funny. And then the badass part, she jumps up on that bitch and strangles his ass. Now that's important. So Carrie loved kicking ass, and that was to me, one of those kick-ass moments. So my understanding is, because she talked about it more than else, I think a lot of the stuff that's in Jedi was stuff that she really liked more than some of the others. But I never really asked her that question point blank. I bet somebody did.
I'm really excited about this
We have two things.
Final segment.
We
of
have two
this.
things.
What?
You don't have your glasses, do you?
No, or my script, because I'm, just
Let
in my
me
mind.
share with you.
So because of time's sake, Todd, we're running a little long, so we're just going to show the
What else
wish.
is new?
Well, we're going to show the wishful drinking curtain right now, just so the folks at home who are not
this
here
is so cool.
can see this.
Okay, we can show that. But
Well, they're right next to you, and you're a little.
you want me to show it?
Explain what we're going to be
Okay,
selling.
well, I'm not sure how that fits into the next sets of clips. But we
me
are
see.
going to do the live music thing. Am I wrong?
We are, but we're
yes.
running a little long on time.
Well, let's
so
just hold everything here. No such thing as long unless you say it's too long.
There's
We have two other
there's a
things
reason.
planned for you,
Yeah.
including a live music segment. If you tell me you have to go to potty,
No,
then we could stop the show.
No, we.
But Seth Robert Show does not run the show here. We do. And so do you, because we don't want to
But
wear
I'm
your...
for moving it along as
I'm
well.
going to show you something cool that
Okay.
we had made. So I mentioned this the other day, and I did not have these to see.
These came out beautiful.
These are pieces of Carrie's curtain.
Oh, you have the fiber optic, because there were stars on the curtain?
Yes.
And so this is the fiber optic.
And you can get these several different ways. I think he has several choices. But this is Carrie's tour one-woman show that she was talking about in the video that you saw. And these are pieces of the curtain that she abandoned in Chicago or wherever we were, and that I went and got back. And so we don't know, we cut it up and we're making limited numbers editions. And then there's a number and a limited signed by me on the back. Fun little collectible. It's not going to be very expensive, but it's a fun piece of collectible. I saw people doing this with like costumes, and I was like, oh my God. You don't cut up, an Audrey Hepburn costume or something, and put it, but a curtain so people can take them. That's kind of fun.
So that will be on the website.
Here, I'll tell you what, let me let you guys pass it around if you want. You can look at it. So that is definitely going to be available. So I believe I have two things remaining. We have the montage that has the live music, right?
Yep. That's what we're good. Go ahead.
Is Seth still there?
He's still here.
Okay, so we have the montage with the live music.
Yeah.
We also have the Carrie on recording, which we could skip. I give them a choice.
I think we should do the live music.
Well, we're going to do the live. That's not really part of the choice, but I have two pieces remaining. One is the recording that I mentioned earlier that we did a tribute song to Carrie and Debbie, and some of you have heard it, maybe not in a room like this, but it's got a little slideshow that goes with it, and it talks about Carrie and Debbie, and this is the one I mentioned that had the lead singer for Journey singing on. The other one we have a live. We're going to do the James Blunt song.
That's not, but that's not the choice. That's happening no matter what.
I'm going to do that after. But
Yeah.
I'm willing, for the sake of peeing, I'm willing to forego the other one unless you all want to see it, because we can cut this out of the recording if we don't want our show to go on. But for you guys, we're willing to do both, if you would like both. Okay, they want to squeeze every drop out of the sponge.
I love it.
So we're going to go right into the carry-on art. So I've set that up a little earlier. If you remember, I was talking about the recording that we did in this very room. And we have, you'll hear Carrie in this recording saying F it in her voicemail at the very end. You got to listen for these things subtly. There's a lot of little funny things that are going on within this recording.
Mm-hmm.
But there's over 100 tracks in this thing. So it's got big orchestrations, a little bit of 1970s feel to it, a little bit more than a little bit, a lot of it, because I'm kind of stuck in the 70s, I admit it, but I'm looking out at an ocean of faces that are kind of similar to my age, so I'm figuring that they can relate to that. So we're going to run that first, and then we're going to do a little bit of live music for you.
My girl of many colors, from emerald green to pink. She sparkles in the spotlight. She sings, she dances into the see you out, see you tonight.
Todd, it's your sister. This is your mother. I'm sorry to call so late. We are having such a good time. We go back to London tomorrow. I miss you. Arizona loves you. Bye. Fuck it.
Worships the ground they talk on. The show must go on. Heaven knows. Dreaming of you. Heaven knows. I'll see you when I see you.
I'll see you when I see you. So we're going to go right into the next clip, which is not disconnected from this. We're going to have our live music part. Come on up. Cat. We probably don't need.
No,
we're
we'll take that over here.
Yeah.
This is the part I've been waiting for a long time.
Well, we have a little montage that was put together to a James Blunt song. James Blunt was a good friend of Carrie's, and he wrote this song in her bathroom, where most of you probably do your writing. And he came up with this song, and it actually is what made him famous. And he always has acknowledged that as part of his give back to Carrie, and there's some funny quotes from him. And you could run this a little lower because I turned up the masters when I played the music, so it's just a little too loud. So anyway, we put a little montage together for the memorial. So this was a module within the memorial, so no one has really seen this unless you happen to have been at the live memorial. But because we have trouble on YouTube with playing music, we have decided to introduce.
All right, so we're going to have Wes Meadows sing it live because apparently that is allowed. So here we go.
My life is brilliant. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel, that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She's with another man. I won't lose no sleep on that, 'cause I've got a plan. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, it's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you. Yeah, she caught my eye as we walked on by. She could see from my face that I was so high. And I don't think that I'll see her again, but we shared a moment that'll last to the end. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, it's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you. La da da, la la la, la 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 la. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, it's true. There must be an angel with a smile on her face when she thought I should be with you. Forever I'll know the truth. I'll always be with you. Thank you all so much.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Give it up for Wes Meadows one more time.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Kind
so
of
much.
better live, you know.
Oh
Anyway,
gosh, yes, it's beautiful. Well, that's it, I
it's
think,
beautiful.
isn't
No
it?
pun intended.
I
Except
mean-
for one thing.
What?
We'll see 3PO.
Uh-huh. Oh yes, look at that.
He's been out shopping. See, he used to shop with Carrie, and it's been a dry spell. So we let him go out shopping for you guys. Now, inside of here is everybody's name. Everybody's name. And I mean everybody. And we're going to let Kat pick. And where's the stuff?
I have the stuff.
I have the stuff.
I have the stuff. Oh, look at that. Oh, God, it's like outer space now. Get to that later. No, I have the giveaways here.
Okay.
And we are going to pull, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, no, excuse me, 5 names out of here, and you will be the lucky
Walk and talk.
recipients of these prizes.
Ah,
All right, we're going to let Kat pick, and you pull
woo,
names.
thank God I remembered these. All right. We have latex styles. It's
Oh
your
my
day.
God, you are a winner on the Intergalactic Price is Right. And Latex, you are winning 17 of our Star Wars stamped envelopes from the Star Wars collection.
And a new car.
The Tesla, it's out front.
It may be very small, but it's a car.
Well, but that's so great because you can't
So you
find
know what
those
that is,
anywhere.
right?
You'll find
She likes
onesies and things, but 17 of the
Original
entire
Star
collection.
Wars. They were released later in like 2007, but it's a complete set of all the characters of Star Wars.
And with matching stamps. Woo! Hold on. This is like the movie star.
Well, that one shows itself.
Malti Sharma.
Malti!
Malti is the luckiest person.
Oh, she gets a set of.
No, You
She
don't
got a set
understand.
also.
Yes. It's
Moxie
like Oprah.
wins
You get a
everything.
set. You get a
Anywhere
set.
we go, she's yes, it's incredible.
Right here.
All right, here we go, and we have Barb Kevern, the birthday girl.
Barb Cavern.
And speaking of
birthday.
that, see if you can get this. Just get this note. We're gonna all do it together. This one note. Ready?
That's our way we say happy birthday because it's. Wes has never.
I had no idea what was coming.
But you see how they all do it, right?
This is a
And we have another birthday.
Wait, what
on
does
the
Barb Kevern get?
Well, we have for Barb. Well, Barb, you have the Star Wars envelopes already. So we actually have a prize for Barb inside the house. She has these, I think, as well. But we have a prize that we actually have for you. Kat has signed a script for you of her original script from Whitebird, Knight Rider, and Ryan has it for you in the house. She signed it to you.
Do you
so
have
can
that?
pick it.
The white bird from Knight Rider?
Well, now
Yes.
you do. You can rest easy.
That was the first episode
Weren't you
of
telling
that.
me you were having trouble sleeping because you didn't have that script? I thought so.
And then we have another birthday on Tuesday. It's Debbie Rouse's birthday.
Yes, my sassy Aussie lassie.
All right. Here we go. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Lung capacity.
She's showing off. Only a Broadway performer could hold a note that long.
I have this one in my hand because I
Go.
pulled two. Thomas Schlieve.
Thomas.
A good Thomas.
Go.
He got the
17.
Oh, that's a true collector's item. And
The Star Wars
you can't get it
envelopes.
anywhere. So that congratulations, John Hestetler. John Hestetler.
John.
Where's
Now
my
I'll let you
boy?
pick. Do you have the envelopes already? Would you like them? There you go.
All right.
Welcome.
All righty. And we have.
Aren't you happy with
Oh my God.
C-3PO's shopping capabilities?
Catherine Styles.
Oh, well, speaking of a mother-daughter duo.
Daughter, that's so crazy.
Catherine, you're
Let her
going to
pick.
get.
Let her pick one of those.
You're going to get one of these of your choice. They're matted framed Star Wars envelopes with also
the
a decor
pictures,
with
though.
pictures
Just
of the
pick
characters.
one that you like.
So you have the droids or Chewbacca. Wonderful, and you
It's
also get a
in
memorial
honor of
program.
who actually chose that item for you.
Oh yes, exactly. He reminds me of all my exes. Stands there.
Hold on. Deborah Rouse.
And Deborah Rouse, you get a Star Wars matted envelope with the Debbie and Carrie Memorial Program as well. You're so welcome for your birthday.
I thought you
We
were
got-
going to do an Anne Margaret fall into the orchestra
Oh
pit there
no!
for a second.
No, but I could do Liza and just fall into the because she.
All right, so are we
That
done?
is it.
All right, so congratulations to the Wieners. And now, how did that start? That we were Wieners? Because Dora, who you've seen
what?
all weekend, is from Columbia, and so she said the Wiener is because that's how she spoke. So that just stuck.
Now we're going to go into the credit roll, which you guys are all used to seeing, but
Yeah.
we're just going to throw it on, which is.
Let me move out of the way.
Well, you don't really have to because we'll cut to it
Yeah.
both ways, but either way,
Mhm.
and that's how we sort of stop the show.
Yeah, and we want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you so much, and those of you at home that when you're watching this, we want to thank you for being part of our
May the 4th. Oh, I
audience in
forgot.
May.
Wait,
That's right.
that reminded me. I need people close, you and you, to come upstage.
Ooh, what are we doing? I love it.
So we're going to light these up. We're going to do a little tribute to Carrie. These all get turned on a different way, just like life. Oh, this one goes here. Keep her coming. They all have little different ways. Well, this one down below.
Hold on. This could be complicated.
Well, I right now I just need two. So. Oh yeah.
Okay, we've got her.
Okay.
Okay. I've got you.
No falling allowed.
No. That's my job.
Have you seen anybody fall down in Star Wars? Because I haven't.
All right.
Okay, now I'm not sure about this one at all. Let's go. Oh, did he put batteries? I think he did. He came back with the batteries for this? Or did Buck ever do it? Did he? Okay, yeah, they do it. Now that one I know how to turn on.
I love the noise.
The green one, that's tighten the bottom of that.
Does he? Okay, they're both lit.
Yeah, but I need more.
You do? You
Well,
always need more.
Okay, we'll let Cat have the red one. Here with Cat.
All right.
I know how to do that one. Is that all I get? That other one we have no idea. All right, we'll do 4. All right, so what we're going to end with here, when Cat's done.
I've never held one. This is awesome.
Here.
This is so awesome.
So what we're going to do is just a little tribute to Carrie, and we'll just send one up to outer space for her. Here comes the last one. So why don't you come up then, Dawn? Well, you're here already, so.
I have my Star Wars t-shirt on.
Well, then you're qualified. All right. By the way, Dawn did a lot of work decorating all the stuff you see hanging around here, as
In
did
the
everybody.
museum, and
But
she
she
did
did
a-
the wall to
yeah.
Carrie. So we're doing a tribute to Carrie, so it's just kind of interesting. The wall in there that says Becoming Princess Leia was largely responsible to her choices in there. So we thank her for that. But in the meanwhile, let's send one up to Carrie. It's
Okay.
not her birthday, but it is sort of her birthday. So Carrie, we miss you. We love you. We're thinking of you on this day. May the 4th
be
be
with,
with you.
you.
There it is. And there's her little footprints. Those are her real footprints, by the way.
There you go.
And this is her real birth certificate coming up here. That's her early birthday, her early pic when she was. By the way, those pictures you guys all saw, or those montages, many of them were taken by me. See, that's her real birth certificate. But then I changed her name to what it would have been in George Lucas's world. This is amazing. Here, watch this. Again, always pointing out her space. Thinking of things to come. My first steps were filmed by my mother, but Carrie held my hand, not my mother.
Happy times, happy nights, sorry, happy days are here. Hi, I'm Carrie Fisher, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh,